Summer in Rome is hot. And by hot, I mean your gelato starts melting before you can even start eating it. Lucky for us, Rome has a built-in, centuries-old way to keep you cool. Fresh, clean, free water flowing from fountains across the city. Whew. These fountains are called nasoni, which means big noses. This is because a lot of them have these curved pipes, which I guess looks like a big nose. And you'll see these curved pipes coming out of something that looks like a fire hydrant, or sometimes just coming out of a wall. In fact, as you can see, not all of the nasoni have these curved pipes, but we call them nasoni nonetheless. We also call them fontanelle, which means little fountains. And that distinguishes them from the huge ornamental and monumental fountains that we have around Rome, which are not for drinking from. You can tell it's okay to drink from a water fountain if there's some place for you to actually put your face and drink from it. The big fountains we have around Rome, which include the Trevi Fountain, the Turtle Fountain, the Fountain of the Four Rivers in Piazza Navona, and so many others, are not okay to drink from. And it's also not okay to get inside of them. Every summer, we have some tourist that just gets overly hot and wants to jump in a fountain. And I know it sounds kind of like fun or cool, but these are centuries-old fountains, and you risk hefty fines if you're caught. So instead, I suggest you find a nasone or a fontanella and drink from that one instead. You'll see nasoni across the city. In fact, you can actually get an app that shows you where they are. But I'm not even sure how useful that app is, because honestly, you can see them just about everywhere. These drinking fountains are connected to the same water supply that serves Roman homes. The water is clean, it's fresh, it's cold, and it's delicious. And it's free. And that water supply comes from mountains outside the city, and it comes in over the aqueducts. As you probably know, the Romans built aqueducts and brought water into the city. In ancient Rome, there were 11 aqueducts bringing fresh, clean water into the city. On one of the many occasions that Rome was sacked, in the year 537, the Ostrogoths broke up the aqueducts, cutting off the water supply to the city. This left Rome without clean water for nearly 1,000 years. It wasn't until the Renaissance that popes started to restore the aqueducts and even make new ones, sometimes piggybacking off of the existing aqueducts that had been destroyed in the 6th century. The only aqueduct that was not destroyed from ancient Rome and that still works today is the Acqua Virgo. This is the aqueduct that feeds the Trevi Fountain, the Four Rivers Fountain in Piazza Navona, the Barcaccia, the Turtle Fountain, and so many more. So how do you drink from these nasoni when the water is pouring down? One option is to fill your reusable bottle. Another option is to look for the hole on the top of the spout. If you see a hole there, you can put your fingers under the spout, stop the water flow, which will force the water to shoot up out of the spout. I suggest standing back when you do this because you never know how strong that spout can be. But there's another way, the Roman way. I'm going to let Alessandro explain it to you.
Now, this is the way we used to drink at the fontanelle, at the water fountain, when we were kids. So you grew up in the street when you play football after the schools this afternoon. It's very hot. It's summertime. All the the churches and the space for kids are closed, so you just interact with your peers in the streets. So when it comes to the fontanella, it's a shower basically. And either you're very small kid, so you don't reach, the edge of the fontanella to put your finger under and then have the splash coming out of the hole, or you literally do the Roman way, which is, putting your mouth under, the nasone, the nose, the pipe. So in Rome, we say we drink a garganella, so you use your pipe, trachea, which in the dialect or in the language, the Roman is gargarozzo, which is this part. So you're a small kid, and then there is, the water coming in, you just use the word garganella.
As an animal lover, I'm so happy to see all of these fontanelle around Rome with these basins that collect water at the bottom. This allows dogs to get the same fresh, clean drinking water that we enjoy. The first nasoni appeared in Rome in the year 1870, right after the unification of Italy, when Rome became the new capital. They were part of an effort to modernize the city and make sure that everyone, not just the wealthy, had access to clean drinking water. And just like the large monumental and ornamental fountains that we have here in Rome, these nasoni are fed by the aqueducts. In the late 1800s, there were over 5,000 of these nasoni across Rome. Today, there are nearly half that number. Some of my favorite nasoni are the ones here in Celimontana Park. They're made with travertine, which is such a Roman stone. I mean, that's what they used to build the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain and so many other monuments around Rome. And the spout is in the shape of a wolf's head. As you probably know, the she-wolf is the symbol of Rome. So a fontanella made of travertine with a wolf's head spout, it doesn't get much more Roman than that. I'm kidding. Of course, all of the nasoni or fontanelle are Roman. There are a few more special fontanelle around Rome that I just love. These 3 fountains are the only ones remaining that have the original dragon head spouts. See if you can tell where they are. Now, since the late 1870s, more fountains have been added around Rome, which are okay to drink from. In 1927, the architect Pietro Lombardi was tasked with making fountains that would represent the various rioni or neighborhoods of Rome. You'll find the fountain of the theater masks on Via Margutta, the fountain of the books for the Sant'Ivo University District, the fountain of the amphoras in Testaccio, and the fountain of the papal tiaras just outside of St. Peter's Basilica. Lombardi made a total of 10 rione fountains around Rome. See if you can find them and figure out what they represent for each neighborhood. Either way, they are all safe to drink from. And just recently, Acea, which is the gas and water utility we have here in Rome, has installed these structures in various points around the city. At these structures, you can charge your devices. You can also get free water, flat or fizzy. There are a couple of these by the Colosseum, so there's no need to buy water from those water sellers that are running around trying to sell you these plastic bottles. In fact, I urge you to bring a refillable water bottle with you when you visit Rome. You'll save money, avoid having to buy a pile of plastic water bottles, and you'll always have fresh, cold water at hand until you can get to the next nasone. For those of you who are interested in sustainability, I did a little digging and I found out producing a single 1.5-liter plastic bottle of water can release anywhere from 44 grams to over 630 grams of CO2, carbon dioxide. That's just for manufacturing, transporting, and chilling it before you even drink it. Multiply that by 5 or 6 bottles that you might drink on a hot August day in Rome, and suddenly you're looking at a carbon footprint the equivalent of spending several kilometers in a car every day. On a global scale, bottled water use generates 67 to 192 billion kilograms of carbon dioxide a year, about the same annual emissions as an entire country like Greece or the Netherlands. And in the US and here in the EU, only 10 to 12% of all plastic bottles are made from recycled plastic. Most end up in landfills or oceans, where they can take centuries to break down. Fresh, clean drinking water is a privilege. Let's not take it for granted. And for more tips on how to stay cool in Rome, don't miss my video right here.